everyone, for coming to session 3 out of 4. Next week is our last week. This has flown by. I know Annie threw around the other day that maybe we'll try to do more, which I think would be great. As we talked from the beginning, we're building a house. So this is week 3 of the building of the house. So we really want you to, if you can, Annie seems like she has trouble with her camera, but if you can, we'd like to see you if you could, unless you're having a really bad hair day. And we'd like you to practice along with us. And really, we would like, if anybody would be interested in volunteering, nothing not the most serious thing in your life, but something that the rest of us can learn from as far as the motion of tapping and the verbiage of tapping. I think that's going to help all of us out. And you don't want to hear about my same things over and over again. So please engage at the level that you feel comfortable. And I think Jondi might even start calling on folks. So how's that for lack of comfort? So I'll let Jondi take it over so we have just a couple more weeks left. So we want to knock some things out.
Absolutely.
Hi, Jondi.
Hey, how are you? How's everybody today? I want to say welcome, and I also want to say thanks again. I'm very grateful for earlier this week, we got to have Jody and Sean work with us and just try some things out so that it's not just me going, yeah, really, it works, or Daryl going, doggone, it works. This is the time for you to actually just feel it for yourself and make your own decisions. And that's what we're interested in. And I spent a little bit of time with lots of people this week talking about the same kind of thing, which is they have all sorts of modalities and protocols they're using, but this one that Daryl and I are trying to teach you is a great precursor tool to lots of other tools you might use. It just will, what will it do for you? It will instantly or near instantly knock down a lot of overwhelm or intensity that a client or yourself are experiencing so that we can actually just have a lot more clarity and access to our resource state. And that's good for any modality you're using. So that's why we consider it to be so good for self-care as well as peer-to-peer care. Another thing we've been discussing, and yes, I'm doubling down on that, is the ability of ourselves to help somebody else without really knowing a lot about what's going on for them. That makes it not only speedy, but useful because we get to maintain some sort of privacy. Even if it's not a private matter, maybe we don't want to get into the weeds with my friend Gina, who I can't see right now, but I'm just counting on the fact Gina would be my friend. And so she might easily say to me, hey, there's so much going on right now. I can't even focus. This is exactly the kind of everyday human problem that we all have, especially these days when so much is coming at us on the phones or online. And this is the time where I can very easily say, hey, Gina, that tapping thing, let's just do it. And let's just use the words you just used right now. I don't have to know anything more. You got 120 seconds? Great. Let's just knock that thing out. And that's the entire extent of it. I don't have to know anything about her stuff. She doesn't have to spill anything, talk about anything. And yet we can help each other, which further bonds us as colleagues and speeds us both on our way, whatever we were going to do instead. So I'll stop pontificating on this. I'm just going to ask you, did anybody use any of the practice sheets and stuff I've sent over? And I don't actually care if you use that sheet. It's just, I sent a template to make it easy. That's all. You don't have to use mine. But I would love to know if somebody could say, you know what? I used it on myself this week and here's what happened. Or I used it on my nephew. I used it with a client who was screaming and yelling at me. And this is what happened when I offered this tool. That's the kind of stories that are really going to be meaningful to y'all, not just mine. Anybody willing to say anything like that? Last time, Sean was in the barrel and Sean said, yes, he did use it. And Jody said the same thing. And she even said, I forget to use this. And I went, oh, wow, that's never happened. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. Happens all the time until we start putting it into the muscle and realizing this is a useful little thing. I'm going to use it all the time. Okay? So Dahlia or Nicole or Gina or Jerry, anybody, or GC, anybody got anything they could share about this happened? It was good, it was bad, I didn't like it, I loved it. I don't care. But I would love to know that you tried it. Dahlia, I can't hear you. It looks like you're talking to me, but I can't hear you yet.
No, I'm not talking to you. I was thinking, and then it looks like I'm talking. But
okay.
Just self-promotion for you. I got the book.
Thank you,
I have not read it or opened it, but it's there.
Well, thank you.
Right. I did. I think I told you last time that there was somebody. I don't know if I told you, but there was somebody on YouTube that I had found that did the tapping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had used him kind of after our first session. So I wanted to complete that cycle that we did. And I finished it with that. And then he had one for joy. So I just used that. And it was kind of the same thing. But now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go into this. But it was really cool to finish up that process and start a new one.
Well, that's fantastic. I love your spirit of adventure and try it and see what happens, because that's all I want you to do, is have something that is meaningful and works for you. And Daryl and I just have a lot of experience trying this out on people and going, oh, huh, that really works. So we keep doing it because that's what humans do. Thank you for sharing that, Dahlia.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And by the way, if you think of anything else, I love your smile. I would be happy to just sit there with your smile. If you've got anything else going on, we could try it on. I'm ready when you're ready.
You know, it's so funny that you say that. I actually have, and I'm just going to share this so people can understand the depth of I actually have a problem with my smile. I don't like my mouth right now. I don't like my teeth. And I'm someone that kind of smiles all the time. And I've been fighting myself in the mirror with it. So that would be something really cool. And it didn't, until you actually said that, I forgot about it for like 5 seconds. So whenever you want to do that, if you want to.
As in now?
Yeah. And I'll just tell you, it's about a 9 or a 10. It's painful.
My goodness. Okay. So anytime I hear that big number, y'all, I'm from the South, so I'm just going to say it, y'all. Anytime I hear that big number, I just go, well, that's too much to be comfortable. So the first thing I'm just going to say is, Dahlia, I don't even have to know any more about it than that. And I barely know you, but I'm just going to say, you know what? Let's just go ahead and bring that down. Let's go ahead and use, I don't know, we'll use that one I showed you, which was 4 thumbs. It's just really easy. Okay. So if you and I can work together here, and everybody else, if you have something that you haven't wanted to mention, jot it down, see what happens when you turn your attention to me and Dahlia. Okay. And Dahlia, all I'm going to do is repeat the simple truth you gave me. I'm not going to go messing in your business. Okay. And so how about if I said this? See if these words work for you. When I think about the smile thing, it's like a 9 or a 10. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's all I'm going to do. Easy peasy, right? And I'm just going to, actually, we're going to do the 4 thumbs. Forgot about that. So underneath the eyes with your finger pads, just underneath the eyes there. Okay. Because I know what I'm working on. I don't have to say anything more. So I'm going to shut up. Okay. And then let's go to collarbones. That's at the bottom.
So I don't need to say anything at all?
I'm teaching you tapping simple. And from there, we can go further. But this is the secret door. So I'm tapping underneath those knobby collarbones. Now I'm going to go right below them in the middle of my chest, right on my heart. It's actually the thymus heart, right? And just tap there. Last place, I'm going to ask you to just reach under your arms and tap on the side of your rib cage. Right? And little kids love this. You know why? Just looking at it, right? And breathe. Yeah. And I tell you what, let's just do one more. Same thing. Okay. Easy peasy. We're just getting this into the muscle memory. Under eyes, under collarbones, middle of the chest, on the rib cage. See, that whole thing maybe took 12 seconds, right? And now I want you to just do this. Bring lightly to mind that whole smile thing and the intensity that you feel it with. Just ask yourself, what's that like now? Any answer?
7.
See, great. 7, not a 9 or a 10, but a 7. Okay. So what do humans do? They tend to do what works or feels good, right? So do it with me again, please. Just set that down. Come right here. Great. Now we go under the throat, right? Under those collarbones. And then we go right below that at the thymus. And over to the side of the rib cage. Right? That's our whole like 12 seconds. So let's just throw another 12 on it. And collarbone. And thymus. And rib cage. Okay, so we've invested 24, 25 seconds there. Let me just ask you, Dahlia, bring that back lightly to mind. Just take a look at that. What's the intensity of this sitch now?
5.
Great. What does that tell you we might ought to do?
Verbal.
We could try it again, right? I want to get you a little bit lower, so just do this. Another 12 seconds for me, please. It's like a game show. 12 seconds on the clock, please.
All your problems go away.
Yeah. Okay, thymus. And back to the rib cage. And let's take a nice breath. Just measure it for yourself. Now it's a what?
2.
2. Okay, great. And so with something that low, I can think better. I can actually start to use my words. Now, Dahlia, we could tap better,
Okay.
just like you've seen on the on YouTube or the TV. And
Oh,
so
we
we're gonna tap with a simple truth, okay?
Okay.
So now I'm gonna ask you to do what the chart said that I already sent you on the side of your hand. And now I can put some words with that, but they're gonna be real simple, okay? Here's my thought about what you can say. Now the situation is down to a 2. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And that's just what it feels like right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's say that a couple times because it's fast.
Okay.
Now this whole situation feels like a 2.
Now this whole situation feels like a 2.
And that's where
It's
I'm
a
at.
2. That's where I'm at.
Mhm. This whole situation now feels like a 2.
This whole situation now feels like a 2.
And that's just the truth.
And that's just the truth.
Okay. And so I'm going to ask you a reminder phrase. That's when we just take a little piece of that sentence out. And this is the chart that you have already. And we're just going to say the little phrase. And I'm going to say, this remaining 2.
This remaining 2.
Is that okay? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now on the regular tapping, we go to the eyebrows and we say that reminder phrase. Now it's a 2.
Now it's a 2.
And just to remind myself, I'm on the side of my eye, on the bone, and I say, this situation's like a 2.
This situation is a 2.
Or I could say, this remaining 2.
This remaining 2.
It's all the same, right? It's a 2.
This remaining 2.
This thing feels like a 2.
This thing feels like a 2.
This remaining 2.
This remaining 2.
Those are those collarbones. And let's get that rib cage again.
Feels like a 2.
That's true. This remaining 2, it feels like a 2.
This remaining 2 feels like a 2.
Great. Okay, so those rounds are like 20 seconds. Woo!
Mhm.
Woo! 20 seconds. So now bring it lightly to mind and check it out again. Now what's happening?
It's a 1.
It's a 1. Okay.
So it moved a lot.
So it moved a lot from a 9 or a 10 to a 1. And we've only been working together a couple of minutes, right? Take 5. Okay. So let me ask you, I could keep on going with that 1, because what's your guess about what's going to happen if I just keep on going with the 1?
I'm going to be okay with it. And I do want to change it. So I want some type of motivation to actually make a change.
Very good.
Yeah.
So at a 1, she's talking. She has ideas about it. There's stuff going on there about what she wants. She's saying, I want to change. I want to make this motivational change here. I need to be motivated. Okay. So again, I'm not getting in your business, Talia.
Right.
I'm just handling
Right.
the simple truth that's coming out of your mouth.
Right.
And so I'm just going to say the simple truth, and I'll ask you again about that. But I'm sort of leading you guys to every little piece that I've done in order, because Dahlia showed it up and was good for it. So I thank you for that. Okay. So the next little step is just taking what she says next. That's all we're doing. We're following her lead, but we're providing a little facilitation, right? And so I say, okay, Dahlia, what I heard you say was, I would, as a matter of fact, instead of me repeating it back, would you say it to me one more time about this situation?
About this situation, I would like to progress. Oh, okay. So that doesn't feel very authentic. This situation is important to me and I want to take care of it. So however we word that.
Let's just stay right there, right?
Okay.
That could mean anything to anybody. That's
Right.
the beauty, again, of the system. I'm going to repeat what she said to me. Okay. I would like to make a change. I would like to take care of this.
Yes, this is important and I would like to take care of it.
Thank you. And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
This is important to me and I'd like to take care of it.
This is important to me and I'd like to take care of it.
That's where I'm at.
That's where I'm at.
And as you know, I do it about 3 times to make sure I'm really tuned in, right? This is important to me.
Yeah,
I want to take care of it.
This is important and I want to take care of it.
And that's what I'm up to.
That's what I'm doing.
It's important.
It's important. Really
This is-
important.
This is really important.
This is really important.
And across the eyebrows, side of the eye. This is really important.
Really important.
Under the eye. Really important to me.
Really, really important.
Really, really important.
Oh, really, really important.
This is important to me.
This is important to me.
Well, important.
It's important.
It's really, really important.
It's really, really important.
Again, another 20 seconds has gone by. Now it's time for me to ask her and follow her lead again. So when you bring that situation lightly to mind again, Dahlia, now what is happening? Now what is occurring to you?
Well, I'm not fighting myself and I'm in acceptance. And this is where I'm at.
Beautiful. Stay right there. Just drop this in, y'all.
Okay.
I'm in acceptance.
I'm in acceptance.
I'm not fighting it.
I'm not fighting.
This is where I'm at.
This is where I'm at.
Whatever you want to say about this is encapsulated in what she's already told you, which is, hey, I'm in acceptance right now. I'm not fighting this.
I'm in acceptance and I'm not fighting. I love myself just how I am.
I love myself just how I am.
I love myself just how I am.
And you see, I'm just picking up whatever she is saying, right? I'm not asking her to repeat after me, blah, blah, blah. I'm in acceptance now.
I'm in acceptance.
I'm not fighting.
I'm not fighting.
And I love me
And
as
I-
I am.
And I love me just as I am.
Just as I am, right?
Just as I am.
I'm going to take that place where
Wow.
she is, which is so beautiful, and I'm going to use that as the reminder phrase because it's reinforcing, but it's also what she said, and it's a reminder phrase, so it works, right? I love me just as I am.
I love me just as I am.
I do. I love me just as I am.
I love me just as I am.
Just as I am.
Just as I am. Just as
Oh.
I am.
Just as I am.
Just as I am.
I love me just as I am.
I love me just as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. That feels good.
That feels good.
Wow.
I'm so grateful to you, Dahlia. I really am, because you allowed me to just be with you while you unspooled all that.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't tell you anything you didn't know. I just facilitated a little procedure to help move that along in your body. Yeah. And then your mind can very clearly fill in the blanks for you.
Yeah. Thank you. That was huge. And it was necessary, I guess, because that's where I can have real change from that place rather than not liking myself or blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
You are so
It's
welcome.
a game changer. Thank you.
Well, I think so. And I couldn't have said it or done it any better than you did. So my hat's off. Thank you. I would like to know if anybody had a question about that for Dahlia. You don't have to ask me. I mean, I'm happy to answer some, but do you have any question for Dahlia? Like, what was that like? Or when did that happen? Or how did that turn? Or how did that feel? Anything at all, I bet you should tell you.
I was curious because it was a big shift. The first jump, it was 9 to, what was it, 9 to 4 or 9 to 5?
No, it's actually 9 to 7 to 5.
Oh, 9 to 7 to 5. Oh, okay. That's a big jump. And then it went all the way down to 1. I don't know. I just wanted to say that. I think that was amazing. Can you reflect on that anymore, Dahlia? Like just how your body feels?
Sure. And I can tell you that it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And I kind of already knew what I needed to accept myself. So the process had already started, but I didn't have the tools to implement it. So I think that's why you saw the shift pretty quick. There was a moment, and I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but I took a deep breath. And I think it was at towards the end to it. I think that's when my body and my mind made peace with where we were at. And I felt it. I knew, because I actually heard myself say "wow" or "breathe" or something. So it was pretty cool.
Beautiful noticing, by the way.
Yeah.
And thank you for asking, Sean. Right? Because my mind is so uncluttered with stuff just in being in presence that I can notice the shift in timbre of a voice, or the outtake or intake of air, or the body language that suddenly changes, a look on their face. Because I'm not thinking, where do I go next? What do I do next? I'm out of my mind into just a present state, so that lovely unfolding feeds me too. Daryl has a question. Yes.
I want to do a process observation as far as a learning tool. We don't know what it is. We know that there was something to do with your smile. That's the extent of our knowledge, which I think is an awesome part of this tool. Honestly, Jondi, psychology boy wanted to kick in and ask the next question.
Yes.
So thank you for not, because psychology boy said, well, of course you're going to have to do some psychoanalysis of what's happening here, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But that's not where it was, and that's not what was needed. She's down. The tool worked. So I just want to emphasize, we don't have to know what it is for it to be effective, as long as the person knows what it is, and as long as they can point it toward that. So when you're practicing with others, because I have to tell you, one of the big barriers as a psychologist, people even coming in to see a psychologist, is they don't want people to know, because there's shame attached to so many things, and so they don't want to express it. Dolly didn't have to express anything about it, and she feels so much better. All right, I could keep going, but that's really, I'd love that.
Well, I thank you for that, because, I think you make the points better than I'm making them here, but it takes maybe a couple of times of hearing it from different people before you go, oh yeah, that's what's happening, or that's what I'm observing happens. And so, I'm laughing because, of course, what does Dahlia get in the mail today but my book of questions? My book of questions is really good for when I need to ask questions. And when I first started writing that book, I remember the original EFT master, Ann Adams. I said, Ann, do you want to look at my book? Do you want to say anything about my book? She goes, well, it's a good book, provided you need to ask questions. Which made me laugh, because that's exactly what Daryl is saying. This kind of precursor tool that I'm putting into your tool boxes doesn't really depend on questions, except for how big, what's that like now, what's happening. Very huge open-ended questions without getting into the weeds. And this is what I've said for several weeks. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is what I teach all the vets. You don't have to know a lot to help a lot. And that goes for yourself as well as your buddy and your client, right? Because from that place, and Dahlia, don't worry, I'm not doing anything, but from that place, she might be in a more relaxed, open acceptance. And I might say, is there anything that we should talk about this, or are we done here? Right? Giving her the option. She might want to work on things that include me, and she might not. It's all good. So thank you, Daryl, for pointing out that I still don't know anything about what was causing distress, but I can observe that it's not there right now. And that person let me know and validate it. No, I'm in a good place. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Means a lot to me, Dahlia. Anybody else have anything they would like to discuss about this? I have a PowerPoint. We can talk about that. I don't think it's really that interesting or important. It's just a structure, which of course makes me laugh because so is EFT. It's just a structure for being able to hold on to a presence with someone to let that unfold for them. Somebody else want to ask or try something. Let's say, oh yeah, but I have something bigger, more intractable, stubborn. I don't know how it would work on this. Now's the time, because this is our third week together and I want to make sure I give you everything you want. Anybody could ask, share, question? Sean says.
Yep, I'm thinking some of the things that I love this tool. I think it's fantastic. I always have a hard time myself with sharing things like this to my close peeps, whether it's my wife or my kids.
Yeah.
And I love how this tool is meant to be used like in the height of emotion. Because we can, you gotta bless people when they're in those states, because they don't really mean anything that they're having. But I find it's hard for me to try this with them, and I know it's difficult, and I have more difficulty with my family than I do with any kind of stranger on the street, and I think that's probably across the board. But
dare I say, that sounds pretty normal to me.
Yeah. 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 Go ahead, Jondi.
I was just going to say, I think you've named a really common problem that isn't actually a problem. It's just, well, I don't know about this yet. Really, it's not so much a problem. I just don't know about it yet. I'm trying to figure out how that would sound, look. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is sort of the fireman rule, right? They don't learn it when there's a fire going on. They learn it before clang, clang, right? So that when they hear the bell, almost like Pavlov's dog, they're like, right. And bang, 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 bang starts taking over, because it's become an autopilot habit now, right? And so this is why Daryl knows that I'm so really dedicated to teaching this to kids, so that it becomes inculcated in them. This is just what you do, right? Anytime you feel that, you do this. It doesn't have a fancy name unless you give it one. And frankly, I'd give it a fun name before I'd give it a fancy name, right? So like little kids will go, can we do the thumps? We sure can. Whatever it is, you know what it is, right? It doesn't matter. And the fact that they've named it or they've glommed onto something that is meaningful to them is great. But I'm not teaching them in the middle of the fire drill. I'm teaching them before then. And then when the fire drill goes off unexpectedly, I mean, really unexpectedly, that's when I go, everybody stand up, line up, thumps, right? That's it, sum total. And everybody goes, yeah. But they're given something to do that's very directive, that they already have evidence in their body, makes them feel good. Right? Or at least makes them feel okay. And that's when you would launch that. Well, the same with family, okay? With the family, I got to choose my moment. Everybody's got to choose their moment in a family, right? If it's a child, I will try out some various spiels like, hey, dad learned something really cool today. I learned how when I'm really mad, how to get really unmad. And like, I don't know, 2 minutes. Who wants to hold my watch and show? I'll show you. You know, it depends on their age and how you're going to offer that. But the cool thing is I learned it, I'm doing it, and I would share it with you. But it's not like I learned this amazing new technique, which is going to help your limbic system deregulate. No, I don't think so, Dad. Thanks. Right? So in the height of the moment, I can do that. And of course, it might have different names with different people in my family. And if it's a spouse, a sibling, uncle, something like that, it becomes much more collegial or on parity level of peer going, hey, you know, I learned something that might be really helpful. That's as fancy as it gets, right? You know, I just pay attention to what it is that I'm feeling. And maybe you're using this as a body kind of sensation is a good way to start. So we don't have to think about anything. We don't have to share anything. We don't have to talk about it. The body is perfect. And I'll just say, so, you know, whenever I feel that in my stomach, you know what I'm talking about? That's when I do this little acupressure thing. And man, does that clear up. I gave you the whole technique and the reasoning and everything right there. And then gauging the reaction I'm getting. I go, well, I'll show you. Just do what I do. But of course, it's easier if they actually have that in their stomach, right?
Yeah.
So it may be about choosing your moment, but it's always easier to teach somebody in the calm than in the storm. It'll still work in the storm, it's just harder. And it depends more on them following you out of desperation in the storm, doesn't it?
Right.
It's fine, but that's not, I don't think, what you were asking. Does any of that land with you, make sense for you? And
No,
does any-
absolutely. Yeah. No, I always forget, and that's me in my programming. I need to just let go in the moment and just be with them and ride it out with them rather than try and, hey, let's do this or do what works for me.
Right.
That's my programming.
Well, if you know that, then that's a really good thing for you to tap with, because I guarantee you everybody on this call, including me, maybe starting with me, has programming, right? That's how I roll. This is what I was taught. This is what I learned. Yeah, sure. And so we could try it on ourselves. You could repeat this very simple sentence with me. And like the borrowing benefit sheet I gave you, which means I'm going to get some work done on my stuff while you get work done on your stuff. Win-win. Everybody here could do that. And Daryl, with your permission, would that be okay if I touched on that? Great. So everybody who's willing to try this out with us, your speakers are already off anyway. If you want to turn them on and join communal language, we're not going to ask you to spill anything, right? I got programming just like everybody else. And that's the truth.
I got programming just like everybody else. And that's the truth.
And that just means something I learned that I repeat.
Right. Whatever I learn, I just repeat.
And I've got programming just like everybody else.
I've got programming just like anybody else.
It's just something I learned.
It's just something I learned.
And then I'll extend that. And that means I can learn something else if I want to.
That means I can learn something else if I want to.
Mm-hmm. All this programming.
All this programming.
It's just programming.
It's just programming.
Just stuff I learned.
Just stuff I've learned.
All this programming.
All this programming.
It's just learning.
It's just learning.
Which means I can learn some more things too.
It means I can learn more things.
It's just programming.
Just programming.
Mm-hmm. Just programming.
Just programming.
Just stuff I learned.
Just stuff I learned.
Right. So at that point, if I'm working with Sean, or if I'm working with a group, that's you, who I have seen a time or two before, that's you, I can say to anybody, hey, does that ring true for you? Does that feel kind of assuring or reassuring to you? Oh yeah, right. This thing I do is just something I learned. All right. And that really does mean I can learn pretty much anything if I want to. Cool. Okay. So maybe that puts us in a really good position, Sean, to just go put it in a question. As a matter of fact, let's just move it over to a question, y'all. What if I learned something else that might be more useful for this?
Yeah, good. What if I learned something else that would be more useful?
I'm just asking.
Just asking.
What if I just learned something else that might be more useful to this situation?
What if I learned something else that would be more useful to this situation?
I'm curious.
I'm just curious.
I'm wondering, would it work if I learned something new for this situation?
Would it work if I learned something new to this situation?
I'm just thinking about it. That's all.
Just thinking about it.
Right? No biggie. I'm just thinking about it. What if I just learned something more useful?
What if I learned something more useful?
And then I'll just finish that sentence. To this situation.
To this situation.
Yeah. What if I just learned something new for that?
Just something new for that.
Give it a try. See what happens.
I'll give it a try.
Just learn something new and see if it works.
Just learn something new. See if it works.
And if that doesn't work, I could probably learn something new. Okay.
Learn something new, yeah.
It's just learning.
Just learning.
And I'm looking for whatever's useful.
And I want to find whatever's useful.
Okay. And with this kind of different energy that he's carrying into his family, what is going to happen there, do you guess? And I know he's listening to us, but I know that you're his colleagues. You're not going to say anything too cuckoo, right, to him. But who has a question about that? Or who could feel that? You know, Dahlia was telling us she was feeling something. Sean was telling us, I'm looking at her feeling something. We do notice something's going on here. So the energy that he had a moment ago, which was kind of hopeful, but yet a little bit frustrated, a little bit acknowledging there's a little something in the way of my just being able to put it out there differently. And now, what do you feel is happening here? And any answer is okay. I really don't have an agenda here. It's just noticing. No? Anybody?
So I think at one point, I think it was when he got up to here, I think he changed his wording a bit, and then he did a body shift or a sound himself. I don't remember the sound exactly, but there was a noticeable movement like towards the very end.
What do you think about that, Sean? She's a really good noticer, working on another good noticer. So I kind of like that. What could happen?
Right.
Woo!
Yeah, absolutely. At the end, I felt like my chest was more open, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I like that. Did that feel right to you, Dahlia?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it was he really, you could see it in his face, and then it was really that gesture that he made. And I think it's a breath or a wow or something. Something changed though.
I think this is the most truthful process statement ever. Something changed. Yeah, right? And the cool freedom of not having to diagnose that, right? It's just, hey, I noticed something changed. And I can use that very sentence, Dahlia. If I'm working with my pal Sean, I can say, hey, I noticed something changed. I don't know what's happening. Very conversational, very honest, right there, right here, right now. And Sean can go, well, yeah, well, you know, my chest open, right? He just tells the simple truth. No biggie, no deep, dark secrets. Just that's it, right? Yeah. And when we know about humans, it's like when my chest is heavy or constricted, or I start closing in like that, we do know there's something that we're picking up that's causing us to kind of get protective and constricted, right? Because when we feel the opposite way, when we feel confident, happy, safe, our chest opens. Everything's lighter. I'm fully there. So I don't know if that was helpful or not to put that last riff on it, but I do believe that we keep proving to ourselves today, what I see is what is happening. Something is happening, and I don't know what you call it, but I do know something is happening. And it seemingly is a good thing because both these people are now doing more of this. They're showing me, right? So who has a question about how that might go, either for Sean and how you're going to present that differently to your family now that you're kind of opened up about that, now that you're sort of like, oh, right, it's just, that's how I learned to do things, but yeah, right? He's considering. But it maybe it's something about a borrowing benefit or an issue that you were working on in that moment. Like, Jerry, Emma, I can't see you, but I can see Gina. I can see Nicole. Either of you have something that is occurring to you coming up, or that you say, I want to do this. I want to try it on this. How's it going to work like that? That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I have a thought. Something,
Yes, ma'am.
I forget if Sean said it or Jondi said it, but
Mhm.
this concept of not acting during the fire or the fire drill.
Yep.
That resonated with me a lot. I feel like something that this tapping technique does is uncover conversations you were having with yourself before with like new clarity. I think in the fall, I was really interested in seeking therapy, but couldn't get myself to make the calls because it was in the moments of panic, and you don't want to act when the fire is happening. But then I also find myself, when the fire is not happening, saying I don't need it. So it's this
That's right.
funny paradox. So it's like how to show up for yourself. And I don't have anything new there, but it's just I haven't thought about that in a long time, and hearing this conversation made me think about it.
Well, I love it. Thanks so much for sharing. I think, my goodness, is that a truth, right? When I'm in a panic or when the chips are really down, yes, I need something, I need it right away. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. But it's not always available. I don't always remember. I can't always access it. But yet, when the danger or threat is over, I'm like, I'm cool, I'm fine. I'm good, right? That's just so human. That's just us being us. And so I'm glad that resonated with you. And I'm also hearing something about that you get this new clarity, but actually it's just uncovering something you already know. I loved that, because I often say, when using this on a deeper, more therapeutic level with like somebody you're going to really work with one-on-one or in a closed group or something, I always have this idea that I'm just helping them remember what they already know, right? Or access what they already know, but they're just not aware they know it. I firmly believe so much is known to us, but we have all kinds of tricks to keep it, on the down low, back there. Deal with it later. Oh, yeah, I remember that somewhere. So this tool is really great. Physiologically, it's really great because it allows us to get all the overwhelm and intensity to just go down like a souffle, just like, so that we can access that more resourceful state. And it also helps us slow down. All of us move really fast through the day all the time. Got to do this on my list. But this helps us slow down and let our mind really pull up what it is we needed. It gives us a scotia time to do that. Yes, I said scotia. Daryl, you're supposed to laugh there. But do you see, when I'm asking somebody something, just in the stuff we've done today, it's not like I'm not giving them an interview, a forensic interview here. I'm not asking them da 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 da. It's very quiet. It's deliberately pausing a little bit. And the questions are easy, simple, and open-ended. Hey, what's that like? And then I shut up. What's happening? You feel that in your body? What's that? That is, I think, this thing that Emma is maybe talking about, that we are working on the something we already know, but we're giving ourselves time to actually sit with it just a little bit longer so that we could really know what it is we need to know. And part of it is doing the kind of things we're doing right now. I'm not in a fire. I'm actually in a place where it's okay, it's cool to learn this. And I do have the tools and I do have some people to practice with, not in the fire. And from there, I could probably take the action I already know I'd like to take or I could take. I just believe in people's innate brilliance. It's just trying to get them calm enough to access it with us. Right? And again, like Daryl said, I still don't know what Emma's talking about. I don't know what John's talking about. I don't know what Dahlia's talking about. And that's completely okay with them and with me. Right? So Emma, if I had more conversations with you and you wanted to do something like that, you would probably, I'm guessing, you would probably feel like, well, that was okay, and that was okay, and that was okay. Well, maybe I will talk to her a little bit more about that. Right? Just because I feel safe enough to make that judgment. I have evidence, in other words. That's the word Daryl and I used to use all the time. What kind of evidence do you have? This is okay or not okay? That's our programming, isn't it? It's not the ones we get from somebody else. It's that we get evidence that this is not okay or this is okay, and we build on that and we program ourselves in that case. But we can always reprogram. Anyway, I feel like I'm going blah, 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 and nobody else is getting a chance to talk. And I would love it if somebody asked or talked about this or gave it a whirl. We've got about 15 minutes that we could get some more done and fun. Daryl, you're looking very thoughtful today, I must say.
Well, then I'm fooling you very easily.
Again.
You know, as you were just saying that, Jondi, I was thinking, I always ask people, how do you know it's that? Because we know it's that based on our previous experience, our programming.
Yeah.
Based on previous programming. How do you know it's anger and not something else? Or because anger and excitement feel a lot alike. How do you know that is that? How did you come to that conclusion that that's what it is? As they're looking at the information, there's bodies again. Well, I'm angry. Well, how do you know that's anger? And really, what you talked about earlier, it's we take the information that we've been handed previously and we apply it to our situations universally now. It may not be the most accurate for the present situation. It may not be the most useful for the present situation, but it's what I got. And so part of, I don't want to use that word, that's like a psychology word. Part of becoming different, becoming more sovereign in our moments is, which of those am I going to pick and choose that I can bring into this moment? That's going to help me. That's going to move the needle in this moment. So I think it's a valid question. What makes you think it's that? And is that going to be productive for you right now? And then leave it at that. That's a lot of thinking, but
well, it is a lot of thinking, because I think what you just showed me, though, was something I was alluding to a little bit earlier, is once I get relaxed enough in my body, it's like my mind can come back online. And now I can think. Now I can engage cognitively with you. Now I can answer your question in a sensible fashion.
Right.
But when I'm really upset, in the fire, totally reactive, well, no, I can't. I can simply do my autopilot programming, which is my reaction. And that is something that has likely been programmed. This is what you do when, right? And so what I told Sean earlier about using that with a family member or a child, it's like, oh, yeah, it's just turning that upside down for positive purpose. When this happens, this is what I do. It's new programming we're teaching them, right? But I think that it is easier for us to deal with the body first before we start asking the mind, because that has a lot of different stories to tell that aren't always true. So like Dr. Darrell's saying, you know, well, where did that come from? Why do you think it's that? The Jondi Speak version of that is, oh, how'd you learn that? Right? Because what I'm doing is I'm hoping to not only keep you out of thinking it out, right? More like, oh, yeah, when I learned that when, that's different than thinking it out. It's showing how you learn that. But it's also not asking your cognitive brain to get involved when you're really upset. And especially around kids, right? Because they can be very reactive, they can get very upset. And then you ask them a cognitive question, just exactly what do you think you're doing with that? Like, oh, I don't know. And so I'd rather show you or run away or shut down because I can't answer your question right now. Right? So let's deal with the body first. Then I go, okay, I think you were trying to do something, but I really don't understand what you were trying to do. Is a lot different than what is wrong with you. Right? So again, that was on my child riff, but as far as I can tell, all of us were one who became big ones, and some of us have little ones behind us that we're teaching. So might as well just refer to the origin of that. How'd you learn that? Which is asking for your evidence or asking for your discernment around, well, I'm really, really angry. And Darrell's going, oh, how do you know it's anger? How do you know that? Perfectly valid. But I might also say, yeah, I can see you are. You know what I do when I'm angry? I do this. When this happens, I do that. Okay? Seems to work for me. No agenda. And sooner or later, somebody will follow you down the hall, Sean, going, bum, 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 or something like that. They'll let you know they were listening all along.
I'll be sure to let you know.
It's true. It's true. And by the way, that longer tapping thing, I don't usually teach kids that right away anymore. I teach the one in the Compassion in Action book, which is more like the stuff that I've showed you guys. That's just a couple of movements and some breathing. So they don't have to remember a whole lot. They don't have to learn what she's doing. They just follow me and do it. And then all this calms down, and they generally don't want to talk about it anymore. They don't even recognize you did anything. It's just, I'm over it. Let's roll. Yeah. So anyway, I'm still yak in here. Gina, how's this landing with you? Thank you for being on camera so I had somebody to talk to. Or Nicole, you've been on camera all this time. Anything that y'all wanted to say or ask? I'm happy to.
I'm just really happy to be here. I missed the last session, and I'm looking forward to looking at that toolbox that you sent out. Annie just saying that she sent it to me. You know, I'm always open for tools and resources to be a better person and to think healthier thoughts, because you know, I need all the help I can get. So
I'm just gonna say, really, don't we all? Don't we all?
We do. And
absolutely. Well, my email's on there if you need me to explain something, or there's something that's unclear, or there's something you wanted to ask, y'all have my email. So go for it. And I'd love to make sure that you got what you need. Hey, Nicole, how's this landing with you? You doing okay?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Sure.
I'm still learning, but this makes me excited, I guess. That's all I gotta say is I'm excited to learn and I have faith and I feel like it's helping me, and I'm not 100% sure how or why or what yet, but
Yeah.
thanks for putting me on the spot though.
Well, I was hoping to engage with you more than put you on the spot, but thank you. And it's very exciting to me anytime somebody else is excited about it. That whoops me up too. So thanks for letting me share that. And again, just like I said to you, Gina, if there's something that you want to know or talk about or question, you have my email and my invitation. Yeah. Dahlia, how we doing there?
Good, really good. I do have a question, and it was kind of in your conversation.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
said, and I want to know if you were to ask yourself this or ask somebody else, what kind of evidence do I have that this is okay or not okay? Now, would that be a feeling or a valid question to say, do I want to work on this right now? Do I want to process this right now? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I do think it's part of what I'm saying. And when I say that in self-care, it's like something that has popped into my brain. And one thing that I'm easily able to do, just like Daryl was talking about a minute ago, is for me to go, where'd I get that idea? Or do I have evidence that that's true? Or is this just like one of these 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day that come flying across everybody's brain? I don't know. But I take a moment to ask myself, because I am interested in what kind of evidence do you have that that is true before I get stuck on the thought, right? I just want to know, does that seem reasonable? Does this seem appropriate right now? Is that proportional? Is that true? You know, Byron Katie made a fortune out of asking people, you know, is that really true? But a lot of people can't hold up, I have found, that includes me, to that kind of rather withering question. How do you know that's true? I'm like, right? And so I'm one of those kinder, gentler kind of gals who go, I wonder if that's true, right? It's less accusatory. I'm more likely to answer it and sit with it and ask myself that question. If I'm asking somebody else, Dahlia, I will try to attune myself, my energy, my language, my face, my body language to them in order to be as safely connecting as possible. When I say, how'd you learn that? Or, do you have a lot of evidence that that's true? I don't know if I've heard that before. And so with that, I'm hoping they don't feel agenda because I don't have one. I'm just curious. And
one of the things that pops out of my mouth without me controlling it, Jondi, because I just get so excited. I'll say like, how do you know that? And I genuinely,
genuinely curious manner, right?
Yeah, and I wonder, where did you learn that, for crying out loud? How come I haven't learned that?
Well, I mean, this is perfect. Daryl's energy and my energy is much the same. We're enthusiasts, basically, right? We're excitable enthusiasts, and we want, wow, that's kind of who we are. So it's pretty easy to launch that. But it also speaks to the fact that we're genuinely stoked. Like I told Nicole, I'm stoked when somebody says, this is exciting. I feel that, and it goes right into me, and I go, yeah, me too. I connect energetically with that. Oh, there you go. Enthusiastic conscious humans just came in the chat box. Yes.
Or at least enthusiastic.
Well, I think another word for that is aware, right? I'm noticing. I'm enthusiastically noticing what I noticed, or what's around me, or what they did, or what they said. Wow.
I think one of the things that and I've shared this with the group previously, that was probably the main phrase I learned in college, was to become fascinated
Yes.
with a person and their experience.
Yes.
When they say something like that, it's genuine. I say, how do you know that? Where'd you, that's a genuine response, because if and I think part of us becoming more skilled at this is have that be the mindset. is this person's experience, and I don't have to be all so stuck in my own head to engage in their experience. And so removing myself from the equation and just, let me see what this is about. I really want to know. That goes a long way.
I love that. And do you hear, it's just the simple truth. I really want to know. I'm really curious about that. Oh, wow. Tell me about that. People can tell when you're shining them on or not. Of course they can. Even if it's not really conscious to them, they feel it. Right? So I think what Daryl is saying, as far as I'm concerned, is we're embodying this sense of delight, enthusiasm, curiosity, wonder, genuine want to know. And people can feel that. Thank you, Emma. People can.
Our time is just about up.
Yeah.
I know
What
that
can we
we'll
ask-
have a full book report next week. That's what it sounds like. 10 pages on Jondi's desk first thing Monday. We'll be back again next Thursday is our last class. Which I can't believe that. That went by so fast. But come again. Invite folks, and I think it's important for us to build this community, and just try pointing it at some things this week. And just to see how it goes. And it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to go awesome, just see how it goes.
Thank you, Dr. Darrell. Thank you, Jondi.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.